live in a time where sharing has become second nature. From posting your breakfast to your vacation plans, even your life goals. So, it's no surprise that when someone decides to start jogging every morning or dreams of launching a business, their first instinct is to tell others. We share because we want support. We're social creatures. That's human. But here's the paradox. Talking about your goal might actually make it harder to achieve. Why? Psychological studies have shown that when you share a goal with others and they respond with praise, that's awesome. You got this. Your brain releases dopamine, the same chemical it does when you accomplish something. It tricks you into feeling as if you've already made progress. This phenomenon is known as premature satisfaction. You get the reward before doing the work, and once your brain thinks it's done enough, your motivation drops. The urgency fades. Instead of taking action, you spend time talking about your goals, repeating them to different people, maybe even posting about them online. But here's the catch. If your actions don't match your words, people stop taking you seriously. Worse, you stop taking yourself seriously. Your personal credibility declines, and that can become a heavy burden. You feel embarrassed, maybe even ashamed. You promised to change, but stayed the same. We've all heard it, or maybe lived it. Someone keeps saying they'll quit their job to follow their passion. But months pass, and nothing changes. Eventually, no one believes it anymore. Not even themselves. So the question is, are you sharing your goals to feel good now? Or are you genuinely ready to act? Sometimes silence is where real momentum begins. In part 1, we explored how sharing your goals can give you a false sense of accomplishment. But there's another hidden risk, and it can be even more dangerous: misguided advice. When you tell others about your goals, maybe you want to change careers, learn a new skill, or launch a project, people will offer their 2 cents. Often, it comes from a place of care, but not always from a place of understanding. Say you want to learn coding. A friend says tech is too competitive. Try UX design instead. Another says, go into finance. It pays more. And just like that, your focus shifts. Not because you changed, but because you got pulled. In Western cultures that value independence, this might seem surprising, but we're all vulnerable to influence, especially when our inner voice isn't strong yet. And when you post your goals online, you invite opinions from people who don't know your background, your strengths, or your why. Suddenly, everyone becomes a career counselor or life strategist. You're overwhelmed. Even worse, when advice comes from people you respect, like your parents, mentors, or close friends, it becomes harder to distinguish between support and pressure. They mean well, but they're projecting their values, fears, and priorities onto you. What works for them might not work for you. Their definition of success might not align with your happiness. So what can you do? Build your internal compass. Understand your values, your talents, and your long-term vision. Once you know what truly matters to you, you'll know which advice to take and which to politely ignore. Keeping your goals private isn't about secrecy. It's about protecting your clarity. Beyond dopamine and distracting advice, there's another, more uncomfortable, reason to keep your goals to yourself: envy. Yes, even in cultures that champion ambition and individuality, not everyone wants to see you win. Sometimes people will cheer for your goals until you actually start progressing. That's when subtle comments begin. The backhanded compliments. The jokes that don't feel like jokes. Or maybe someone questions your qualifications. Are you sure you're ready for that? Or they mock your efforts. Didn't you try this before? On social media, it's worse. The moment you share something meaningful, you open the door to criticism from people who don't know you. Oh, she's just trying to be an influencer now. He thinks he's better than us. These are common responses to success, especially from people who feel stuck. And in rare cases, that envy turns into sabotage. Someone might spread rumors, discredit your work, or even interfere in your relationships, not because of what you did wrong, but because your growth made them uncomfortable. That's why silence becomes your shield. When you protect your plans, you also protect your energy. You create a space to grow, away from noise and projection. You become better at spotting who's really in your corner, and who's just clapping until you rise above them. There are, however, 2 exceptions to this. When someone directly impacts your journey, like a roommate, partner, or teammate, sharing your goals helps them understand and support your daily habits. When someone has already achieved what you want, their insight comes from real experience, not opinion. They can guide you with empathy and precision. Some of the most inspiring people don't broadcast their every move. They work. They grow. Then one day you look up and realize they've built something incredible, quietly. Be that person. Quiet, focused, moving with purpose. No applause needed. Thank you for listening. If this episode resonates with you, share it with someone who needs it. And remember, staying silent doesn't mean you're uncertain. Sometimes it's the smartest strategy of all.